You are now officially tuned in to the No Filter podcast. We are the truth.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the No Filter Podcast edition. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2026. My name is Joaquin Strickland, and I'm the organizer of Family and Friends Living Healthy, a summer Saturday morning walking group. To my left,
turn this guy's mic off, man. Turn this guy's mic off, man. He introduced himself long enough for y'all to no sir. Hey man, it's truly Kaz, aka Carl. Y'all know some guy, Massachusetts, man. I'm here. We in here. I real quick before we even get into the episode for tonight. I just want to say, like, I can't believe how fast the year is going, yo.
like that's already.
Right. It was just, what was it, back in November, December we started this?
December 1st.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, because right after that was Christmas, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This Christmas.
Yeah.
Hey, so first of all, in case you all don't remember, who we had in the studio a couple weeks ago, we had the city councilor, and she wasn't small, she wasn't a medium, but she's at large. City Councilor Erin Murphy inside the building, and she came through and we chopping about those politics and everything else in between, man. So if you want, go back, catch the recap of that joint because that was crazy. That was crazy. And again, shout out to everybody over there at Boston City Hall. Right? Cool. Tonight, though, we have a very, very special guest. And this guy, he's been, involved. He's been in the fold for almost a couple of years now, but I'm going to introduce our guest. Or I'm going to let him introduce himself because I think that's what we're doing right here. Introduce yourself, my brother.
My name is Robert Gracie, and I know these guys from the walking group, and had the honor to go on starting. I guess this is the third season. Jeez Louise, and it's been great. Never a dull moment. Lots of great people, and I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you on with us this evening.
Dope, man.
Glad to have you on.
Through.
Thank you.
For those that don't know your profession, what do you do?
What do I do? Well, I do a lot of interesting things, but I call it the hub of my business is acupuncture. And then alongside that, I do a lot of other things, including body work, use of essential oils, cupping, a lot of interesting modalities. So long story short, that's what I do. I got a couple of offices. I've got one over in Brookline, and then I've got another one at Belmont. And, been doing this for well over 20 years and enjoy it immensely.
So you are what they say in French, when they say la experience.
Well, I've been at it for a while. You can't help but become experienced in the knowledge of it. And I've been very fortunate along the way to work with some masters, including the founder of a non-insertive style over in Japan. So I've been to Japan 7 times to study that form of acupuncture. And it's a continuing learning process. I learn more from my patients than I do anything else.
Okay. And how did you get your start? What made you want to pursue that profession all those years ago?
I just want to say he's a question thief.
Oh,
because
yeah.
That was going to be.
Did you have something to say?
Well, I was going to say, going back to your thing about Japan. Tell us about your first time in Japan.
Well, we went over there during the winter time. So trying to get out of Boston was an adventure because you never know what's going to happen with snow, ice, you name it. But anyway, we got over there and I was amazed. Have you guys ever been to Disney World? Do you know what that's like?
Is that Florida or Cali?
Well, they have Disneyland in California. Then they got Disney World down in Florida.
Okay, I always get them confused.
So I grew up in Florida, but Disney World, they keep everything super clean. It's like you don't see trash and
Wow.
everything's polished, so it looks sparkly clean.
Mm.
And that's what Japan was like.
Mm.
Wow.
Even trucks that drove around like garbage trucks had polished chrome, no dirt on it. Cab drivers would have white gloves and a tie that they could wear. So if you got a cab, you're looking at somebody like, was this guy being my chauffeur or something? And but anyway, I was amazed. The people are very kind and hospitable, and I just had a wonderful time. I went to what they call electronic rose shopping,
Okay.
and I tell you, if you guys ever into electronics, I know you must be. You can pick up almost anything over there about half the price that you pay over here.
Yeah, because their prices are very. The money system over there in Japan is slightly, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, and plus you're not paying the tariff costs.
Yeah.
Taxes. and all
Yeah,
that
the
jazz,
tax,
yeah.
They have Japanese yen.
Yeah,
That's that yen. Yeah.
exactly.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Did you ever say a lot of that or?
Domaha. But anyway, so when I went there, the master that founded this style. So originally, I was introduced to the founder of this acupuncture in the United States. Actually, he came here to the United States, but then we followed with a trip out there to see him, and he introduced us to all kinds of things in Japan. It was just awesome. We had our own special exposition, or how should I say, viewing of Japanese ballet by one artist who's probably one of the best in the country. She put on a show just for our group, people that came over. It was incredible. I've never seen anything like that.
Okay.
Do you guys like sushi? You ever had sushi?
I can't say. I don't.
Yeah, raw fish.
Okay.
Well, they got the best raw fish over there. That's sushi. But anyway, had a great time. You know, being introduced to lots of different things culturally. We did some side junket visits to some other locations. It was excellent. So that's my first Japan trip in a nutshell.
Okay. Now, before Carl added a question about Japan, how did you get your start?
Well, I'll tell you in just a second. But so, yeah, that's an interesting one. It takes me pretty far back in time.
Okay.
So when I graduated from college, I moved to this town. I'm from Florida originally, and I moved to this town in Central Florida called Lakeland.
Right.
Anyway, long story short, there I was introduced to a thing that was a meditation-like program that focused on actually kind of like similar to Tony Davis's work, and bringing people together, but also being able to really understand how they think and also convey thought. So when I got exposed to these things, and I got exposed to a form of meditation back then that was not called that specifically, but it led me to sports psychology because I was a runner back there. That then led me to meditation practices when I came up to Boston years later. When I got here, since a lot of the meditation practices are Eastern traditions, I got exposed to acupuncture. And I was working for a company at the time, a real estate company downtown. on this major project, and I was burned out, working long hours, and I needed something to help me relax. And that's when I came across acupuncture. At the same time, I also have been running races, and I needed something to help the lower back pain that I was experiencing. And nothing seemed to work on that front, probably because I was so stressed out too. Long story short, I got exposed to acupuncture, went to an acupuncturist and was blown away by what he could do. And that gave me further inquiry into what's this stuff about. And over time, I got very familiar with it. And through both what he had to say and other sources, and obviously the experience in getting treated. So, and then from that standpoint, I remember the last job I had in real estate. I was traveling all over the country and just getting burned out with that. And the short of that was I got to do something different. So why not follow your avocation, which was a lot about personal development, being focused on Eastern traditions from the standpoint of meditation and all that stuff. And so why not look at different options? I looked at social work. I looked at training and development. I got accepted at 2 schools in that, but I said, this doesn't feel right. And then I decided to look at acupuncture. And that's when I said, Eureka, this is it. And so I got into school, completed a 3-year process. People say, well, what's acupuncture school like? I said, just think of medical school. It's like mini medical school.
And one.
In acupuncture. So you got to do, you're treated, you're educated not only in Eastern medicine, but you're also educated too to some forms of Western medicine. So we had to take some core curriculum courses like organic chemistry.
Wow.
Yeah, that was tough. And there were some other things that along the way that were tough courses to take. But I was like a kid in a candy store. I just couldn't stop getting enough information. And while I was in school, I had the good fortune to have a couple of mentors work with me. And in particular, one mentor said, do as many extracurricular courses as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So when I was at school, they also had what they call continuing education credits that you could get, let's say, if you're a practitioner or already licensed and out there. And I just absorbed whatever she thought that would resonate with me. And I had a wonderful time, getting educated in that arena too. So anyway, and then, I got out and started practicing. As I say, that's where the rubber meets the road. It's one thing to do it in school, in clinic.
Fly in the wheel.
But it's, yeah.
It's another thing to fly by the seat of your pants and do it yourself.
In the real world.
Yeah, in the real world, you got nobody there saying, oh, I think you should do this, this, and this.
Yep.
It's like, oh, okay, what do I do? And later on, I became a clinical supervisor at the school. This is the New England School of Acupuncture. Oldest school in the country, by the way, I think. And oldest is not what you think. It was in the early 70s that the school was formed, but we didn't even really formally know about acupuncture until President Nixon opened up the trade routes with China in the early 70s. And then all of a sudden it came out about what acupuncture was about. So anyway, the school opened and I was down the road, from the standpoint of how many classes had been already graduated. So the school opened in the early 70s. I graduated in 2003.
Okay.
So that was that story. And, I continue to learn. Every day I learn something new. As I say, my patients treat me. I mean, my patients educate me more than anybody else at this stage of the game.
Okay. Now, well, for those that don't know what acupuncture is, would you like to explain?
Oh, I should have brought some of my tools. So there's two forms of acupuncture. I'm going to use your head here, Carl. So think of this being a needle. Now, the acupuncture needles themselves are so thin. They're like hair thin. They're like monofilament line. They're like horsehair. They're so thin. And because you're inserting them into particular areas of the skin called acupoints. So there are about 360 odd points that are what you get tested on and what is known to be its basic points along channels. Then there are a lot of extra points, a lot more, probably at least maybe another couple hundred or more points, depending upon the style and that sort of thing. So there are different styles of acupuncture. There's Japanese acupuncture, which I'm primarily drawn to. The whole philosophy there is less is more, and very shallow insertions without much stimulation. Okay. Then there's traditional acupuncture, traditional Chinese acupuncture. It's called TCM, and that's with deeper insertions and a lot of stimulation. And then there are other things like Korean acupuncture that comes from Taiwan. There's master tongue style, this style, that style. So there's literally lifetimes of this stuff out there that one could get experienced in. And that's one of the dilemmas is like, okay, you've been exposed to all this possibilities of getting educated. Where do I go? What do I choose? And you got to just kind of resonate and be drawn to the things that reflect your own sort of personal values and things of that nature. So I was drawn mostly to the non-assertive style and also Japanese style, which is more gentle. But anyway, the needles are very thin. So for kids that are, like coming in, let's say a 4-year-old's coming in. And, as a kid, probably, when somebody said you're going to have to get a shot with a hypodermic needle, probably you didn't like the idea of feeling that needle.
That's right. I think,
So, a lot of kids come in and they're like, ooh, this is going to be like, getting a shot. And I said, no. So I show them the needle and it's about yay long. Okay. And it's of a metal. They have different metals. So they have stainless steel. They're incredibly sharp. And then they're gold needles, silver needles, and that sort of thing. So gold is the best conductor. Silver is the next best conductor. You're saying conductor of what? Do they play music? No, they don't play music. They play electricity. So they conduct electricity. You say, well, how does that happen? We're bioelectric in nature.
Yes.
That's been proven. They've photographed auras. So you have a magnetic field around you, believe it or not. And it's been proven. I mean, and they've also, on these acupoints, that are on different parts of the channel. So they're channels and meridians that run through the body, like on your arms here, and that sort of thing. And then there are acupoints. You can measure electrical impedance on those points. And you can stimulate a point. Now they have the diagnostic tools. So they have a thing called functional MRI, fMRI. So what you can do is needle a point here, be in an MRI, and you can see which area of the brain is getting stimulated. It's wild. It's wild. So now they're getting a better understanding of how acupuncture works from a Western medicine standpoint. But they've known this over in China. So it started in China about archaeological evidence says about 5,000 years ago. written language when that came into play.
Right.
Yeah, that was 2,500 years ago. In Japan, it's probably been around for 1,500 plus years because Japan's off the coast, China. So it took a while to get to Japan. Same thing for Korea. And, but it, eventually it expanded everywhere now. So that sort of thing. But anyway, acupuncture, the needles are these thin little needles. They have things called guide tubes. You're saying, well, what's a guide tube? A guide tube is a plastic encasing that goes around the needle. And it's a tube. So the needle rests in this tube. Okay. So when you buy them, when I, as a practitioner, buy a bunch of needles, next time on one of these podcasts, I'll bring some things.
You coming back? You coming back?
Yeah. So I can show you guys what I do.
We definitely need a part 2 of this because I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm in a total different realm right now. And
well, that's what it's like, man.
Like when I think of acupuncture, I think of meditation. Like I think of like healing. I don't know why. Like all those things come to mind too. But then I could take it a step further and say, like, even from a mental health perspective, this is. I feel like the two are hand in hand, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. In acupuncture, what they term is it treats the whole body, and that translates into mind, spirit,
Body.
yep, yep, and then the physical body. So you've got mind, body, spirit. I say mind and spirit are similar, but spirit's the underlying core of what drives us.
Yeah.
Or like we say, like they used to say back in the day, and I actually have it as a drop, but every time I think of spirit, I think of soul.
Yeah.
And so the drop is something. The drop it says something for your mind, your body, and your soul, and that's actually from a house record in 1992, Cantrell. But I took that as a particular sample because soulful music obviously resonates with someone's soul, and I like what you just did here. We didn't even mean to go down, but it just happened to be that way, you know.
Well, that's what it's about, Carl. So think of it this way. So you're right. So in my meditation practice is what I learned along the way. So there's a language called a written language, and it's also in sound too. It's called Sanskrit. So Sanskrit was developed in India, and its syllables exhibit a certain sound. So have you ever heard people chant the word Om? So you go Om.
Yes.
Yeah.
Om. So there's a certain resonance with that, just like certain soulful music, just like
Right.
good jazz.
Oh my
or
God.
good funk, or good.
Oh, talking about funky. Oh shit! About to get funky meditated up in here.
So all of that, and when you hear that kind of music, it resonates
It takes
with
you
a
to
certain
another place. Yeah. No, that's
good. And
oh, man.
that's what it's about. So when you treat the body with acupuncture, think of it this way: it takes you to those places.
Yeah.
One thing what my patients do is, if the pain isn't better, which usually is they get off the table and they say, "Why am I so relaxed?" And they'll look at me with this glassy-eyed look. And that's what I call the acupuncture high.
Yeah.
Hold on. You were high?
And they're like, well, now I'll tell you a story. This is funny.
Okay. What is it?
So I was treating somebody, and they did the same thing at the end of the treatment. I said, "How are you feeling?" Because I always ask patients before they get off the table, "How you feeling?"
Right.
And she said, "I feel great." She goes, "I feel so relaxed." And I said, "Oh, that's great." So she paid, and she got up to leave. And she started walking out, and then opened the door, and she walked right into my closet.
Oh,
And I said, "Why did she do that?" And she said, "I have no idea why I did that. Where it's going."
I'm sorry, why? That's what that is, right? You know why that is? Because she was probably having those flashbacks. Again, when I think of like meditation and stuff like that, I think of like, taking you to those different places.
Take you there.
Yeah,
So you ever heard of you said that the patient walked into your closet.
yeah, she was so out of it.
So
So real.
I was gonna say she was trapped in the closet, like like R. Kelly said back in the day. That when that video was pretty popular. That's people. Shout out to all the R. Kelly fans out there. If you like it, cool. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
so
incredible.
when you come to my office, you're at least guaranteed that you're going to leave relaxed. And if you're not paying free, then I'm not doing my job.
Let me ask a question. Because again, like I said, not that long ago, just the acupuncture, mental health,
Yeah,
the meditation, all of that stuff goes hand in hand.
absolutely.
Do you ever think people get stressed out, like from the long days worth of work, or just the family life, or just that one relationship that's just like,
It's not working out.
and so like, does does acupuncture help with stress?
Yeah. So let me tell you about that. That's a good question, Carl. And so, in treating people over the years, I think one of the major predictors. So when somebody comes in, whether it's this pain, that pain, whatever pain they have, whether it's emotional pain, physical pain, or what have you, and a lot of people have had trauma along the way, both physically and emotionally.
Right.
A lot of it is what I term the word stress. So some stress impacts the system and causes imbalance that becomes a symptom and could physically manifest as, let's say, uh, a certain pain in the body, like shoulder pain. So if somebody's sitting at a desk all day and they're stressed out, they're going to probably have shoulder pain, traps and tight and that sort of thing. Or if somebody's super stressed about working
8 to 7.
8 to 7 long hours,
Nine and nine.
yeah, think
Nine
of
to
somebody in the ER doing that kind of work. And they're just stressed to the health. So they're not sleeping well, their digestion may be off. They're eating junk food because they're just trying to keep themselves going. So all of this can kind of blossom into this
Right.
chaotic.
That's a mental effects on your body and your mind.
So I see a lot of people come in that say, help me with my anxiety, help me with my depression, help me with my sleep because I'm so stressed out I can't sleep at night, or what have you. A lot of times I'll find out that somebody's, as a child or along the way has been traumatized in some way. Could be the parents, could be somebody else, it could have been an automobile accident, it could be anything,
Could have been a
or a combination.
It could have been experience in a traumatic event.
Exactly. And it's never just one thing, I say. It's
Yeah, it's
usually
not- yeah.
compounded. So thinking, if you've been around as long as you are, I won't ask you your age, Carl, but you've been around for some
Yeah.
You've been around.
Yeah.
So, you've gone through times that probably think of it stacking up stress. So what I do is all that stress that gets stacked up in various different ways that causes symptoms, I unload it. So with acupuncture, it's about rebalancing and unloading all the stress and then teaching you how to do it yourself.
Damn, can I come see you? I might need a book of appointment here, like, man, what do I have to do to come see you?
You just come. Now, that's what, the interesting thing is, this circles back to what Rakim teaches us all and reminds us, more importantly, because, I know I've been around this stuff so long, but that's what enticed me about you, Rakim, and what this walking group was. There's a whole idea about how I got involved.
Yeah.
You want to hear that?
Yeah, let's hear. For those that don't know, tell your story.
Yes. And,
You just made this man's day.
well, I got to, and then we'll come back to you. We'll make more. Yeah. Now, on the, so I get a lot of email, and most of it's spam these days. It's just out there. So I'm constantly deleting email, or I look at stuff and I just won't even look at it because it usually has nothing to do with anything,
Yep.
So I was going through my email and I came across this email. I said, wait, what's this? Walking group? I said, that's interesting. It's different. It's not like your typical spam mail. So I opened it up, took a look at it, and this guy is like saying, hey, are you interested in joining our walking group? And I looked at where it was and said, it's not too far away from this office. But, who is this? And how did he get my name? I was curious. So I said, so it had a phone number down there. Or no, actually, it wasn't the number that I called first. I stand corrected. It was the email that Rakim had left, his email. And I emailed him back and I said, how did you get, because I got this through email, how did you get my name? And he said, well, we were looking for some people in the health business and I came across your name or website or whatever. And I said, oh, okay, well, tell me more about yourself. So that's where I learned about what Rakim really is inspired to do. And if I had to put one word to it, it's about connection. And I hear that from Rakim all the time. But that's what I do. It's all about connecting people. First and foremost, if I don't connect with somebody else, guess what? The truth, that's not going to work as well.
Right.
So it's all about connecting. Same thing for you, Carl. That's, as a DJ, you're looking to simulate movement and music and all of that. So it best connects with your audience. So when Carl said connect, when Rakim said connections, I said, okay, I got to check this out. And so it came. And from then on, it's a great group of people. I can't say enough more. Cultural wisdom out the wazoo and just never-ending experiences with some good folks. And, I've gotten to know a lot of good people in that group, including you guys. So that's how I got involved in the group. But it gets back to what you originally said, Carl, about all these different things that you treat. So let me take one quick segue. So after I graduated, I started teaching at the school too. I was practicing. I had my private practice, but I was teaching. I did clinical supervision. And in clinical supervision, I got to work with students who were interns, and they would treat patients that come in. So I was responsible for helping educate the students about how to approach that. If they had a problem with point selection or trying to figure out how to best treat the patient, I would help them out. And so in doing this, I learned a lot about the interactions involved in that process. And so what was the point? I'm trying to think. I'm circling back to the point. The short of that is that, well, I can tell you that story is probably not the best one. But I will give you an idea of the power of the acupuncture. Is that when I was supervising a particular clinic, one of the interns came in. She said to me, I want you to review the intro I took on this patient, but her foot, I think it was both feet, at least one foot was totally crushed in an automobile accident. You know how the foot has multiple bones?
Yeah.
Well, we're talking all of those things were shattered practically.
Okay.
And she was in constant chronic pain. And that's what you walk on all day is your feet.
Your feet, right.
And if they're in pain, you got to be it's got to be awful. So there are a couple of points. One here they're called Mugan Gugan. That's Chinese. And both of these points are really good for the heel, but also good for bone injury. So I said to my intern, because she said, what do I do? I said, go needle these 2 points and then let me know how it goes. And she said, really? Just those 2 points? I said, yeah, those 2 points. So she left. I see her come back in. She goes, you got to come in here and see what this is about. I mean, her eyes were like wide open and she's practically crying. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? So I went into the room and this woman who she had treated was walking around the room in tears and said, this is the first time I've absolutely had no pain in my feet for something like 10 plus years. And my intern just said, what? How did I, kind of do this? And I said, now you're a skilled practitioner. You did the treatment. I just told you. But
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And she walked. The intern had such confidence after that she very rarely came up to me unless, it was a protocol that was unfamiliar to her. So it does a lot for building self-confidence to see how patients can respond to this stuff, just like I was telling you guys. At the very least, you feel relaxed.
You said that you got, what was it, 2 offices. Which ones did you say?
I got an office in Brookline. It's right in Brookline Village. It's right across from the town hall.
Okay.
It's not too far away. It's about a 20-minute drive. Then I got another office over in Belmont. So the reason I got 2 offices, that's what you're going to ask about.
Well, I was more or less concerned about the Belmont office, right? Because I don't know if anybody knows this, but shout out to my peoples out there on the west side of Massachusetts. Again, if you are not from the state, yes, Massachusetts has a west side, okay? And we got to say things like that because, like the mission here, at least what I'm thinking, the vision here for the podcast is we like our viewers and our listeners to feel comfortable. And, we like them to feel that like they're with us within the state. So, that's what we try to do. But the other reason why I was gonna ask about that Belmont location too is because if I'm not mistaken, isn't there Uno's over there?
With the food again? Well, there could be. There was originally, what's the name of that pizza place over in Alewife? You know what I'm talking about.
I can't think of the name of it right now. I
Yeah,
know where you're at.
It used to be there, but then
You talking about High Five? High Five? No, that's Boston.
it was what's the name? I think the franchise has since gone out of business, but they were popular about 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't know if there's a pizza place nearby, but I'm sure Belmont Suitor's got pizza places there.
I need to take a trip out to Belmont, come see you, and then I'm gonna go get my slice of pizza after the fact. Just because pizza makes me feel good after the fact.
Oh, pizza's good. I there's a place in Brookline I like a lot called Stoke Fire Pizza. If you ever get a chance, go.
Oh man, I'll be in Brookline
You'll
Wednesday.
get stoked.
Yeah. Nah, man, your profession is incredible. Because I got to touch on this mental health thing too.
Yeah.
While we're talking about acupuncture, because I want to go back to that story that you just told about the young lady that was having problems in her foot. When I think of chronic pain and depression and all of that stuff, like all of that stuff, that eventually leads up to the mental health. So what you're thinking, not thinking with a G, but what you're thinking.
That's right.
See, we're from Boston, so I say it like that. So if you got a problem with it, then you put your comments in the chat box, and we can dispute it accordingly after the podcast, right? But what you thinking, how you feeling,
Yeah.
and
how you handle certain situations.
yes, all that stuff, translates to like the mental health aspect. So my question, that I did have in regards to that and your profession at the same time is, have you ever had patients come in, tell you their story? Has it ever been a long story to the point where you've been like, okay, we're here for the session. Let's just do it. Let me give you what you need. Thanks for the story, or thanks for telling me. But has it ever been like that, or are you more or less moved by people's stories and experiences?
Um,
That's a real
well,
question.
yeah. That's another good question.
Put this guy in the hot seat tonight.
So, it's sometimes a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But depends upon the patient and how I think I can best relate to them and given a certain situation. So, after I've been treating somebody for a while, obviously I get a good sense of who they are and what they're like. So there's great rapport, and we go back and forth talking, sometimes just talking about anything and what lights them up and that sort of thing. And then other times, like for instance, I've had some patients where I'll be going through a range of questions and asking them how they're doing today and this and that. And sometimes what'll occur during that exchange is I've had patients just start crying.
Oh,
Just start crying.
wow.
And they feel bad about that. And I said, it's okay. Because what it is, it's that connection. The connection is occurring, and they're sort of just revealing
What
pain, or whatever it is that they've been going through.
Something traumatic, or they just having they're feeling it.
Or it's a cleansing process.
Oh.
Getting stuff out
that's
been trapped
forever.
Yeah.
All that built up, negative.
It can be. It can, come out in a lot of different ways. I've had people actually get angry, and stuff like that. But I don't take it personally because I know that it's usually something behind that.
Yeah, there's something behind
That's the root cause
of their emotions.
Exactly. And but what it does is it gives me an idea of A, what's going on with them, and B, where they are in the process of going through whatever it is to get to a better side, or not. I've had some patients that usually don't last too long that have a very tough time revealing themselves, and it's like they're closed in, locked in. And I can only do so much.
Like standoffish?
Pardon?
Like standoffish?
Standoffish and just closed down. And usually those are the people that are very tense. So when they're on my table, they're tense. No, I'll say, relax your arm while I'm taking their pulse, and they find it very difficult just to. They're guarded. Usually I think it's some kind of trauma that's been pretty bad in their life. It doesn't always have to be that, but it can be, or stress that's so built up and they haven't found a way to unleash it or uncork it, or to bring it out in such a way that they feel comfortable in expressing it. Because a lot of people are scared to reveal their side because somebody might say something bad
Yep.
about them.
That's when we start getting to like being judged and
Oh yeah, a lot of those people who've been traumatized have been judged and have been ridiculed.
Yeah.
And
That have been looked down upon.
pardon?
They have been looked down upon, talked about.
Yeah. I mean, you probably have been around folks. Maybe you've even had your own experiences. I say there's not anybody. Somebody comes to, I've had a great life all my life, and I just feel great. Now I'm sick of that. And I'm revealing everything because I frankly don't know anybody. Just through my own experience of treating patients, even people that want to come in for just maintenance. Yeah, there's something that's happened in their life that's right somewhere along the road. And yeah, in some cases, it's pretty severe. And those are the people that I strive to help the most. In some instances, because I have to work harder at it, but work harder is not what you think. It's actually just being present.
Yeah, being present and trying to connect with them even more.
Exactly. That's all what it's about. And sometimes it's not saying anything, just listening. Just listening. And that allows them the space. People ask what meditation's all about. Well, I say it's a space between the in-breath and the out-breath where you find that calm state of being. And it's the same thing in life. So if you get somebody to just quiet down, be present, then that's where, healing comes into place. But that's also where, you can let go of all these inhibitions, guarded aspects of what you think you need to guard for, which is not useful anymore. It may have had a purpose at a certain point, particularly if you're being beat up by your father or something like that.
Or being verbally abused.
Yeah, you're protecting yourself. So you might close down, you might shut off from the rest of the world, but you're protecting yourself. But when you're getting treated, particularly by somebody like me, it's like you don't have to protect yourself, but you have to gain trust. And that's where rapport building is so vitally important. And a lot of that trust is just through listening, because they don't feel listened to in the Western medicine framework of treating people or working with them. It's very short. It's like bam, bam, you go to your primary care, you're in there for whatever.
An hour.
Yeah, an hour. Sometimes it's 15 minutes. And they're going through, asking a lot of questions. And then when it gets time to you asking questions, you don't have much time. So you feel like you haven't been heard.
listen, in that case, I think I want to leave my primary at here. As a matter of fact, I want to get out of here. So let me go get some food after the show.
Exactly. And I can't tell you how many patients have said, I don't feel like I'm being heard by my doctors. And, then they'll see what I do. Because that's what it's all about with me. If I can't make that connection and have that connection with the patient, I know that the treatments won't be as effective. So it's vitally important. And the treatments are not about, anybody other than the patient. It's all patient-centered medicine. So my objective is to bring them into a more balanced state. So they're realizing their fullest potential, whatever that may be. So, that's what it's all about.
Okay.
In a nutshell. But ask me more. I'm right here.
I'm gonna take you back to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Because Florida is watch how we make this connection, if you will. Florida is one of the hubs of hip hop.
Ooh.
And if like the Florida scene as far as hip hop was concerned, back in like the 90s, more or less, like who was that? we have it.
What?
I can't think of
Musician?
the
Hip hopper?
yeah. You did, but if you did Freak Nasty. See, this is why this guy about to put this guy at some acupuncture because he's very knowledgeable with the music. But even as far as that is concerned, my question was as far as you're growing up in Florida, do you ever hear a lot of like hip hop music or
what job would you hear back down in Florida?
Well, you guys are going to date
No, that's good. Come on.
So,
That's fine.
you know, my prime time in teenage years was around in the early 70s.
Okay.
Okay. So,
you're a disco head?
well, that's even before disco came out, let's say in the mid 70s.
It's okay, so that's like between like soft rock and
Well, there was a lot of jazz.
jazz.
There,
Miles Davis.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Dizzy Gillespie.
Oh, well, yeah, Gillespie has been around for a long time.
What else we got?
Now, let me think about that. Well, back in the day, there was Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's the other guy I'm thinking of?
Oh, well, I was gonna say Ray Charles, but he's more or less like soul. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of the guys just think back in the 70s. You know,
From genres.
Did you have a favorite type of genre growing up, or?
oh gosh, you know, people say, "What kind of music do you like?" I would have said it back then. Today it depends upon the mood.
That's what we're talking about.
It can go anywhere. It can go from classical music. It can go from other sort of world music. Like I love Latino music.
Okay.
I love the beat of Cuban music.
Okay.
And all kinds of music like that. But I also like rock and roll. I like sometimes a little bit soft. I love folk music. I love country music sometimes. You name it. But it depends upon the mood. Now, when I was a kid growing up, it was a lot of rock and roll. So I saw concerts back in the day. You could go to them for $10. Well, $5.
I just seen a post about that on Facebook, and they were saying that like a lot of artists that are coming out now, like who have concerts. Concerts are not really even a thing as much anymore because the prices are going up.
Oh.
Everything is going up. So you probably saw Grand Pash in 75.
Well, I saw. So let me tell you about some of the groups I saw.
That's right. Come on.
Let's tell you how rock, man.
Let's talk that out. Let's talk.
Come on. So guess who I saw
Who's GC?
backing up Deep Purple.
Okay, Deep Purple. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
Yeah. They were the backups. When
Wow.
they came on for the first show, Fleetwood Mac, they couldn't get them off the stage. They kept the crowd says, "One more,
Well, so they
one
were-
more."
Yeah.
That's before Fleetwood Mac got a name. Okay, and then I saw. Let's see who else I saw. You remember Alice Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So good old Alice. And you remember Jethro Tull?
Okay.
Ian Anderson on one
Okay.
foot playing the flute.
Yeah.
So I saw one time when he took his flute, that he was playing it, and he just threw it out to the crowd. And all the crowd people were like ants on honey, man. They wanted that flute. But crazy stuff happened at those concerts. But who else did I see? I saw Grand Funk Railroad.
Okay.
Okay, I saw Beach Boys play. Yeah. Well, who else? Was it Billy Preston?
Lily Preston?
Yeah. Billy Preston. Yeah, Billy Preston. And who else? Clarice Nicole was back then.
Who else? Who else?
Chic.
No, I didn't see Chic, but I saw Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Emerson, Lake and Paul.
Oh man.
Mount
Climb
Mississippi
band.
Queen. Remember that song?
Wow. So ladies, he's showing his age. So you want to holler at Robert, Mr. Robert Gracie, let us know with the chat, man. And
You ever see? I see Rolling Stones.
Didn't see the Stones, but I knew of them and missed their concerts. The same with the Beatles.
Beatles, yeah.
I
I feel like those were like very high priced concerts. Like even if you could afford it back then, there must have just been something about those concerts that your parents was like, nope, you ain't going to that because we ain't got the money.
well, that
We
could
don't
have
have the
done.
money.
The, the other thing was, Florida back then wasn't the destination place for some of these huge big ticket events, like New York City was, Chicago,
yeah.
And places in like San Francisco, over in California. But most of the places were like the Beatles first played a lot in New York City. On the Ed Sullivan Show. This is way back in the early 60s. That's going back a long time ago. But I've seen other artists play since.
Now you said
I
that
like a lot of jazz.
you said that you travel over the country as far as like your acupuncture and stuff like that, right? Or was that something else I'm thinking of?
Traveled. Well, I traveled to locations you get taught at,
Okay.
but not to practice.
Okay. So what was the farthest place you've been to other than Japan?
India.
Oh,
India. Wow.
okay. Where?
What about in the States?
Where?
What about in the States?
Well, let's see. California, that'd be on the other coast.
Listen, you been to California? Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up. No, we about to stop this podcast. Listen, he's been to California and I'm just now finding out about this.
Yeah.
San Francisco, LA,
San Diego.
the coast. No, not San Diego.
Man.
Sacramento.
Not that far north, but I got a niece that lives there.
I'm about to throw him out if he didn't.
I know he must go there.
Yeah, I've been to Oakland.
Okay.
I bought a tie-dye T-shirt from a guy who used to be back at the Woodstock days.
Hold on 1 second. Get out.
It's right in the middle of Oakland. So
There was somebody, I don't remember who I just seen a documentary on recently. Oh man. It was Archie something. I forget his last name. But he was the voice to the No, it was he was the dude behind the Dykes and the Blazers. I can't think of his name right now. Archie something. Did you ever get that far, or as far as like concerts and stuff like that, or?
no, I didn't do any concerts out in California,
Okay.
but I could tell you the story.
Okay.
Okay. You sold me in.
Okay. What is it?
So I had this patient come in once.
Mm.
He was this tall, very tall black man that works for the Boston Inspection Department. Okay, so I'm thinking, what is he coming in for? He's got some pain. He did a lot of work at Fenway Park, and guess what? He did security, so he was involved in a lot of concerts and things of that nature. He got to meet a lot of artists along the way because he was working security. Okay. And but before that, he went out to this will take back. So this guy walks in, to my office, and he has these white shoes, white belt, dark pants, with a nice hat and a feather in it. I'm thinking, who is this?
Wow.
He sits down, he goes, "Hey, brother, how you doing?" And I said, "Holy geez, man, you're decked out." So anyway, I treated him, and we started working together. And he said, he started telling me about what he did, what his work was. And he said, at a time I was out in California And I said, when? And he said, well, back in the late 60s, early 70s. And I said, well, what were you doing out there? He goes, well, I was working on the stage. I was doing, I was, one who helped set up the equipment, staging, and all that. I said, oh, really? And I said, well, who did you come across back in the day? And he said, I came across this guy named Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
I said, really? And he goes, yeah, I got to know Jimi Hendrix, and he invited me over to his place one night for, just sitting around, having some drinks or what have you. And in walks this woman. Okay. I said, who's the woman? He goes, Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin. Right.
I said, what? He goes, yeah, she was always so tall, pint-sized. Man, could she put it down? And that's, I said, it's Janis. She said she could belt out the music. So I said, you sat down with these people who just had a nice conversation. He goes, yeah, we just sat there and talked. I said, you got to be kidding me, man. I said, you were with some of the best artists around at the time. And so anyway, you never know who you're going to come across in my practice.
As like I say, within any industry, they just say, like we say in the DJ community, they say, you never know who's listening. You never know who's watching if you're doing videos and stuff like this, man. Because it's true. You don't. I don't know.
Yeah, well, this guy liked to play, I think, the violin. Anyway. So,
Dope.
I'm here for you guys.
Dope. Do you have any last words, maybe, for the your listeners or the viewers?
It's time to go. I'm just getting started.
Yeah. Definitely gotta put you on for part 2.
Yeah. No, it's been a pleasure. Take part of this. As Rakeem said to me, he goes, how do you? And I said, Rakeem, I don't know what prepared to do. He goes, well, I'm just going with the flow. So this has been one of these times when I've totally gone with the flow. You guys have enabled me to be able to feel at ease doing that. So.
Again, like I said earlier on the show, that's the vision here, that we try to make people feel comfortable. I guess in a way we've practiced some sort of acupuncture without even realizing it.
You do acupuncture without the puncture.
Hey, shout out to those other punks out there, and whatnot, man. We appreciate them too. Robert, man, we appreciate you coming on, brother, and filling in, or not filling in, but we should having you, man. Appreciate having you, man, and come back for round 2.
Absolutely.
Definitely, man.
Thank you both, Carl and Rakeem.
And as y'all know, we like to say,
my name is Rakeem Strickland. I'm an organizer of Family and Friends Living Healthy, a summer Saturday morning walking group. I like to say, always continue to strive and have a positive impact on others. To my left,
I'm just going to end the podcast because that's what I can do best, man. It's yours truly, Kaz, a.k.a. Some Guy. We want to thank Robert Gracie for coming in tonight. Listen, if you have any questions, holler at us, man. That's what we're here for. On that note, y'all know what I like to say. Be kind to one another, love one another, respect one another. But don't get on my last nerve. On that note, we out of here. Holla at you later. Peace.
You are now officially tuned in to the No Phylta Podcast. We are the truth.